I used to believe that some people were simply meant to stay invisible, not ignored, not disliked, just unseen. My name is Ethan Walker, and for most of my adult life, I existed quietly in the background. I was 27, working as a systems analyst at a mid-sized consulting firm in Seattle, the kind of company where creative ideas were celebrated loudly, but the people who kept everything running smoothly were rarely noticed. I didn't complain. I wasn't built for attention. My desk was tucked near the server room, far from the glass offices and open collaboration spaces. When things worked, no one spoke my name. When something broke, suddenly I mattered for a moment. And then there was Lauren Mitchell. She was my director, 36 years old, sharp, controlled, the kind of woman whose presence alone could quiet a room. She wore tailored suits, neutral colors, always polished, not cold, but carefully guarded. Everyone respected her. No one really knew her. Our interactions were minimal. Emails, brief instructions, occasional nods in meetings. She trusted my work, but kept distance. Professional, always professional, until one night changed everything. It was a Thursday evening when the office had mostly emptied out. Rain streaked the windows, and the city lights reflected off the wet streets below. I was finishing a routine maintenance update when my phone rang. It was Lauren. Her voice was steady, but I heard strain beneath it. "Ethan, I hate to ask this late, but my laptop crashed. I have filed for tomorrow's board review. Can you come by my office?" I didn't hesitate. When I entered, her office felt different at night. The lights were softer. The city outside looked distant. Her laptop sat open but lifeless on the desk. I removed the drive to recover her files. That's when I saw a folder I wasn't meant to open. I clicked it by mistake, or maybe curiosity did. Photos loaded slowly. Not work files. At different moments in life. Painting alone in a studio. Laughing in sunlight. Sitting by a window with tired eyes and no makeup. Quiet moments. Vulnerable ones. Nothing inappropriate, but deeply personal. I froze, and then I felt her presence behind me. I toned. She had seen the screen. There was a pause so long I could hear the rain hitting the glass. Then she said calmly, "So, now you've seen me." I stood up immediately, heart racing. "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have." She raised a hand. Not angry, just firm. "I'm not upset," she said. "I just want to know something." She looked at me directly. "What do you think of me now?" That question stayed with me longer than anything else she ever said. I answered honestly. "I think you're human, and strong, and more real than people realize." She nodded once, and that was it. No punishment, no conversation, just silence. The following weeks were brutal. Lauren assigned me project after project. Security audits, system migrations, late deadlines, high pressure, no room for error. I worked until exhaustion, took my laptop home every night, survived on caffeine and stubborn pride. Part of me wondered if she was pushing me out. Another part sensed something else. She watched quietly. Sometimes there was coffee on my desk. No note. Just there. Once, she stopped by late and asked, "You holding up?" Not as a boss. As a person. I always said yes. The truth was, some nights I barely did. 3 weeks later, on a Saturday afternoon, my phone buzzed. "Lauren again. I know this is last minute, but my internet's down. I have a virtual meeting in an hour. Could you help?" I went. Her apartment overlooked the water. Minimal. Clean. Lived in. Not the life of someone who had everything figured out. I fixed the issue quickly. But before I left, she asked me to sit. "I need to be honest," she said. "The pressure I put on you wasn't accidental." I stayed quiet. I needed to know if you'd disappear when things got uncomfortable. If you could handle seeing parts of me I don't show at work and still stay steady. She met my eyes. "You didn't flinch. You didn't gossip. You didn't treat me differently." I swallowed. I don't walk away from things just because they're hard. She smiled softly. "That's why I trust you." Months passed. Work changed. I wasn't invisible anymore. I led projects, spoke in meetings. People listened. Lauren backed me publicly, supported me quietly. We talked, sometimes about work, sometimes about life, about failures, about fear, about the weight of expectations. There was no rush, just connection growing slowly, naturally. One evening, after a long day, we stood by the office windows watching the city glow. I spent years building walls, she said quietly. You're the first person who didn't try to climb them or tear them down. I replied without thinking. I just stood still. She laughed softly. That was enough. On her birthday, months later, we stood on her balcony under city lights. She turned to me. You never tried to take advantage of a moment of weakness, she said. That's rare. She stepped closer, and for the first time, she chose, not tested. She kissed me gently, not impulsive, intentional. And in that moment, I realized something important. Love isn't loud. Trust isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's built quietly, through patience, restraint, and staying when walking away would be easier. I didn't notice her hints, because she wasn't dropping hints. She was watching who I became under pressure. And when she finally chose me, it wasn't sudden. It was earned. Thank you for watching Classic Stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us how powerful compassion truly is.